In this episode, we will take a closer look at an abandoned factory with a rich history. Over the years, this factory has produced various types of goods, ranging from textiles to electric motors. In this exploration, we will venture inside of this old and forgotten factory to uncover its fascinating past. Our exploration started at the edge of the compound, which was located in a desolate area and hadn't been properly maintained since the 1960s. After wandering around for a while, we eventually found the entrance to the factory's main production hall. The structure had seen better days and the effects of decay had taken over. As we explored further, we came across a room that was decorated with all kinds of items. Including an old piano and a peacock chair. It was an odd contrast to see such items in an old industrial building. Next to this room was an old workshop that was completely different in terms of condition and items stored inside. To understand the history of this place, we did some research. We learned that its site began as a small water-powered mill sawn in marble in 1791. Over the years, it transitioned into producing flour and finally fabrics, which led that this place became a true factory. Upstairs we found paintings and other items that we speculated belonged to the former owners of the factory, who likely operated the factory as a family business. As we continued exploring, we stumbled upon the highlight of the complex, an old traditional pottery works that was in a remarkably good condition and complete. We found old books and multiple finished objects that had been left behind. At the back of the pottery, there were two old kilns where the products were heated until they became solid. It was an unusual discovery because the pottery seemed like a hobby place, which was odd considering the factory was solely for production. After producing fabrics until 1942, the factory switched to electric motors due to World War II. The factory continued to produce motors after the war. The biggest achievement was the use of its motors in the Belgian Arctic expedition of the late 1950s. However, the factory had to cease production in the late 1960s. After this, there was no record of activity beyond this point. While exploring the various floors, we came across an empty room that looked like it had a relatively new roof. On one of the tables we found someone's English homework, dating back to the 1990s, which was much later than the factory's closure. It appeared that the factory had been repurposed after its closure. Outside the factory, next to a small creek, we found an old office block that appeared to be undergoing a renovation. The stairs were redone, but the job was never completed. On the top floor we found beds and a poster. It seemed that an ambitious family had planned to turn the factory into their home. But they never finished. The reason why they abandoned the renovation remains a mystery. As our exploration comes to an end, we learned that the whole terrain was up for sale for 700,000 euros.